Welcome back, Wagoneers, to another exciting episode of the Wasted Wagons podcast. Today, it's another episode just like the previous ones, with it's just the OGs, the OGkins, and that would be Patrick, Mike, Sean, Todd, and myself. This weekend, guys, I don't know what y'all did, but it's right smack in the middle of grammar school fair season, and I basically spent most of my weekend at the. So I wanted to go around the table and just kind of get your opinions on what do you think about fall festivals.
Let me go first since I don't have kids, and so that I don't really have a normal reason to go to the fair and whatnot. But I do attend, I guess maybe one a year like that. They're fine. I'm glad I'm not stuck there with being around all these parents that are just miserable that they have to be there for their kids and their kids' performances and whatnot. Fair food, usually okay. As long as there's cold beer and some decent food, fair is cool. I don't really play games or anything really.
What if you're forced to be at the fair for like 24, 20, 30 hours plus maybe?
That would probably be miserable. But
which ones will force you to do that though?
I don't know.
If Mike doesn't.
The wives or the school
wives.
So the wife forced you to be there.
No,
they didn't
no.
force. It
I was
wasn't
just saying,
school forcing you.
It did not happen to me. My lovely wife did not force me. I'm just saying, hypothetically, if your wife forces you to be there, I have some friends, that their lovely wives force them to be there for 30 fucking hours.
Well, Mike, you're tiptoeing around. Patrick gave his response. What is your response to how you feel about fall festivals and fair life in general?
Fair life in general absolutely sucks ass. It's like a to-do, right? Like, okay, if I was in Patrick's shoes, I think I would love fairs. I'd go to the fair, I'd hang out for an hour or two, leave, walk in, walk out type thing, you're done. The problem, though, having, kids, the kiddos, it's not as simple as that. 100%. You have to go, and it's like a to-do thing for the whole weekend. You got to go every fucking day. You got to, do all the things.
The mega band and go on every ride?
What's that?
Did you kids get the mega band and go on every ride?
The mega band's $70.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Per kid.
Oof.
Inflation, man.
Yeah. Inflation is crazy.
I mean, how much was it back in the Magdalene days? Like $25 or something.
I mean, that's 100 times better than paying $20 for a sheet of tickets, though.
The Gravitron.
Lasts like 3 rides.
That's right.
The Gravitron, the Zipper, and the Yo-Yo.
But it's all a money grab for the school, which is okay. It's okay. That's what it's all about. It's to give money to the school, but it's becoming tougher and tougher to do it every year. For me, anyway. I was fortunate enough I had to work 2 out of 3 days.
Which we're going to get back to in a second, one part of your work shift.
Yeah.
What did you work, though?
Get back to it.
Plinko? Bring a drink?
No, he didn't work at the fair. He was talking about he had to work his job.
Work.
Yeah. No, I did. I just went fresh off of weekend. I'm spending most of my Friday night, most of my day Saturday at. I slipped up and mentioned the name of the school. Probably shouldn't have did that earlier. Let's just say my kids' grammar school fair. The part that as I'm sitting there yesterday, and I know I texted you guys, I started getting the feeling probably like Todd does when he's camping. Like I'm sitting around the music stage, watching the kids perform, and of course each grade level performs the same song, so you hear the same song 4 times or 3 times. Just a little switch.
Yes.
Yep. No. That little switch at the bottom.
Oh.
Yeah. And then so I hear the same song, 3 or 4 times from each grade level, and I'm sitting there drinking a Paradise Park beer, which, as we know, we've mentioned here before, is not one of my favorite beers. And then, as far as the people, some of the people are okay, some of them I don't really necessarily want to be around. So I just kind of got the general consensus as I'm sitting there. I'm drinking beer that I normally wouldn't buy. I'm hanging around people that I probably normally wouldn't hang around with, and I'm there. Also volunteering my time to a school that I pay $10,000 a year to send my kids to school there. So I don't know. I just walk away from the fair every year, and I was like, man, I really wish I would do something else with that weekend, but I feel almost obligated to be there. Here's another thing. So I guess because my kid's school fair doesn't have rides, so it doesn't have a lot of extra excitement going on other than the booths and the games and the food. They decided to put on a middle school volleyball tournament. So if you were in the ages of 5th, 6th, or 7th grade, you could form a volleyball team and go inside the gym and compete in an elimination tournament. One loss, you're out. Which I found out
while the fair is going on.
While the fair is going on, yeah.
Okay.
And I found out my son actually has some untapped volleyball potential there. He actually did really well. His team won the first game, but lost the second game to a team that had 4 of the girls' volleyball players on it, which was, to me, shouldn't have happened. But another part that didn't sit well with me here was they charged every parent $1 to enter the volleyball tournament. So we're sitting there going to watch and support our son, and me and my wife each have to pay $1.
Like to view it, not to participate?
To view it, yeah.
Like you're getting into like a venue.
Yes, to like watch a show.
What a money grab!
So yeah,
so what did they make there? Potentially,
Well, they grabbed us by the ankles and shook our bucket. If you look at it like if let's just say they had 10 teams participate, each team had 6 kids on it, and then all of those parents go see it. Let's just say most of them are still together, not separated. I mean, you do the math there. That's a good bit of ones they're pulling in, So anyway, so like you used the term money grab earlier, and I think that's a very proper way to put it. But yeah, I walk away from walk away from it wanting to have done something else different my weekend, and every year heading into it, I'm really dreading going. I'm just kind of like, I vented to my coworker. I have one direct coworker I work, spend most of the day with at work. And I think she was on the same page with me with this, but I was just like, man, I really just don't feel like going to the fair tonight, So anyway, that's my opinion on fairs.
I don't have a whole lot to say on fairs. My kids are public school trash, so the public schools don't really put much up for a fair. I mean, it's
have fairs.
They have something where it's like it's during the school day, but there's no rides. They just do like. They just do like the maze and like they do the confetti eggs and shit, but they don't have like rides and it's not like a whole community thing. It's just the school, and the kids go during the school day and attend it.
So we can't crash like your kid's fair?
No. I don't think you'd want to.
I probably would.
During the school day.
I would just go there to just be a support person for you and just sneak alcohol to you so you can manage it.
Other than confetti eggs and a maze, I think that's about as interesting as it gets.
Okay, that is pretty lame.
So aside from my kids' fair, which is like during their school day, I've gone to Travis's kids' fair, which is absolutely awful. By far the worst of the 3. Sean's kids' fair, and that one's a little bit better, but I feel like I feel like as little parking as there is and how overhyped it is, it's kind of overrated. The only one that I remotely liked was my elementary school fair, and I'm pretty sure I could probably say the name of this school now because
it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
But it was St. Mary Magdalene's fair, and that one was cool because it had a ton of rides, it had a big backfield, they had a lot of food places to go to. I remember that, I don't know, the hamburger place was Eat at Joe's. It was the wooden sign hanging from it. Burgers were really good there. I don't know if you remember those, Mike.
No.
He remembers librarians.
He remembers
the important thing.
He remembers some thick librarians.
Thick librarian.
But the burgers were really good. The crawfish etouffee booth was really good. That being said, being a 40-year-old man, would I want to go hang out there? Probably not. But as far as like elementary school fairs, that one was probably, you got more bang for your buck than the other 2.
That was a good fair.
It was. Like, my mom went to it to the very end.
It was a very good fair.
John's still alive.
The
school died. It's like my mom went to it till the very end. It just sounds like God rest her soul.
Yeah, my mom's still alive. The school's dead.
R.I.P. the school.
Now it's a different school. Do they have fairs at that school, at the new school?
Good weapon.
Saint Therese.
I don't know what we're redacting, but I'll figure it out
The
in
name of the
in
school that I
post.
just dropped.
Oh.
Saint Therese Academy. If you say it enough times, you have to edit it out 5 times.
Mm-hmm. So thank you for the extra work. I'm already behind because of editing, and now you're making more work for me.
Just because of me.
Yes, you. So, Sean, you're next. How
Editing other things out?
how's fair life for you?
He loves fairs.
One other thing.
What?
One other thing.
I was going to say,
I don't know.
you editing out stuff I said last time?
Not specific to you, just in general.
Okay. In general.
Yeah. Don't let trouble starter.
We still haven't posted the one for Mike's house, so I'm guessing there's a lot of dogs barking.
Talk about that later. I'm gonna let Mike edit that episode.
But, yeah, so funny that I'm going last because I guess I don't want to say an anomaly, but, for being a vice president now of the men's club and being super involved from day one, it's been like the fair. It's like the first so many years, I would go on rides with my child and have to like walk around her the whole time. But last 2 years now, I've worked the beer booth. This will be year 3, and the whole time you work, you can drink whatever you want. You can walk over to another booth and get free food. I feel like the amount of food that I eat and drink for that weekend for like next to nothing is insane. That even afterwards, it's like freaking shindigs in the parking lot afterwards that we sit there and just pour beer after beer and just drink as long as we want, whatever we want. And and I've had the advantage of not having my child, meaning mom's weekend. So child's done with the fair, she gets mom, and I get to stay at the fair and work, quote unquote. It's so hard to just serve beer and drink 2 of them for every one that I serve, pretty much. But and then I don't work as much as, like, they're all big about fair setup week, and then even the Monday after about cleanup day and about all the help they need. And I felt a little guilty that I partake as much as I do during fair weekend, and I barely show up for those days. And this year, I feel like I'm somewhat obligated to like at least maybe take off the day after for fair cleanup day, because I might be able to make it Wednesday of setup week. I'm not going to go Thursday because the Saints play. I'm like, sorry, I'm going home to watch the Saints game. And then I had my child Monday, Tuesday. Sorry, I'm going to go take care of her first. So, all right, I might show up to one day of fair setup, maybe fair cleanup. But there's some people that like live and breathe this stuff. They're there all week. One of them puts a trailer in the back and like will actually sleep in a trailer, and like they like literally camp at the school.
That's dedication.
That's dedicated.
Do you find that the people that do that, the more hardcore ones, are more like older people, like 50s, 60s?
No, you'd be surprised.
Okay.
Guys trying to get away from their wives.
There's
Those types.
jury could be out on Like, I've heard from some of the wives, different ones, certain people, whatever, that have flat out say, like, oh, if I can't find my husband, I just go check St. Edward. It's like, it's like, I mean, they live in a neighborhood, I get it, that they can drive, or some of them have golf carts and scooters, and they literally, like, just, hop on over to school whenever they want. And it's just like, some of these people, they just live and breathe volunteering. For the next project to do, they were there Friday tree trimming. Like, actually, I pole saws from cutting branches. I'm like, sorry, I don't get off from work early enough. Sorry.
Who finds a husband in between the chicken wire booths with someone else.
But, I'll be working. Yeah, they wanted us to run Cracklin, too. So I'll be helping run Cracklin the first 2 nights. The top of beer booth, and then Sunday, can't say it too loud, Sunday after a certain event, I'll be going back to work the friggin' hamburger booth Sunday night. But at least the school, if you work over 10 hours, they put your name in a hat for a $1,000 raffle. And then they give us a fair worker party, which is another shit show that turns into a, past midnight at steps and go home obliterated. It's all about the people, because that's the big difference. It's like, if I didn't know everybody, if I didn't enjoy hanging around with people, I obviously wouldn't be there for hours at a time. And we can go like behind a freaking deer trailer and go smoke a cigarette or something. It's like nobody cares if you walk off. It's just kind of like, it's like a giant party, but we're working at the same time,
It's crazy, all these different schools, like, you have different experiences, from school to school.
And then I mean, I don't mind saying St. Edward because it's Coach Sean DeLay is their thing, and they're real big with the pork. They like the fire and hang the meat and stuff. So it's a big old ritualistic thing on Saturday nights, and and then they cook the pork overnight. I'm not one of them, but last year I stayed till like almost 3 a.m. watching them do the Cajun microwaves and cook the pork butts and all that kind of stuff. Pretty wild thing. I just stood there and drank and talked to a cop, and that's the thing is that I'm there, but I'm usually like partaking. I'm not really working that hard.
Right.
I'm not gonna bust my ass for something again. Volunteering. Sometimes when people make like pressure you too much and make you feel like you're not doing enough, I want to look them in the face and go, "We're volunteers. Calm the fuck down."
So after what you just said, I wouldn't be a guy who would ever fault you for not volunteering enough. I think that that you go.
Because I'm not going to get into all the politics of, I'm about to term out as vice president. So what's that mean? So come March, April, when we do nominations and elections, am I going to be president next year, the next 2 years? I don't know if I want to do that yet. There's certain reasons, there's certain other people that I know would want it more, and even if I wanted it bad enough, they might want to run against me, and I'm not going to fight you for it. You want it bad enough?
Well, Sean, why don't you give us a shout out? When is the St. Edward's?
In 2 weeks, 18th, 19th, 20th.
Well, we're doing a lot of school name dropping. I don't know if we should be doing this.
Yeah,
like Sean said, though, they kind of promote the Coach Sean.
Yeah. Call it the biggest Coach Sean delay in Southeast Louisiana.
Now, one thing I will say is I know you've got to meet a lot of these people and know them through men's club and grow to like them, and that's why I think I made that comparison to why I instantly thought of Todd Camping when I was there yesterday, because of the fact, like, if you guys were all there and we all had our kids and we all had chairs just set up around the stage and we had ice chests, well, I guess you can't bring ice chests in, you have to buy the beer there. We're drinking beers, having a good time, chit-chatting like we are right now. I think I would like it a lot more,
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's definitely more about the people and the camaraderie and all that kind of stuff. And it's anything we do, anything out there, it's like, there's an ice chest of beer. It's like, all things works party. Like say the tree trimming or doing something, filling holes around church or pressure washing on the pavilion is all like, there's always a nice chest of beer. Somebody orders canes or pizza. There's like the incentive to be out there, and try to, some of them would do it without all that, but, it is what it is.
Well, like you said, you volunteered at the beer booth. I know my friend Jeff, who is actually the president of our kids' school's men's club, he looked like he had some free beer and was getting pretty sloshed while working the beer booth. One thing that I'll say is I volunteered at the baseball booth, which is the game where you throw essentially pickleballs or wiffle balls into these cups, and then you win plaques of your favorite baseball player, football player, whatnot. And after volunteering 2 hours at that booth, I didn't get any free plaques, which I'm for my kids. Actually, though, my son did win about 6 of them, but that's a lot of our money going into that booth as well.
That being said, I have never done game booths or anything. If I do work the fair, it's like a beer booth or a food booth, like seafood, or hamburger booth is like kind of everything else. They do seafood at one, hamburgers like nachos, and even they even sell pork dinners out of it after Saturday and things like that. So,
what's the best fair game? The best game at the fair?
That's one if they do it, they have a paintball room that the kids love where they can actually shoot paintballs and some stuff. Like they put this big old trailer in the corner by the stop, and they get to shoot paintball targets and stuff like that.
I would say my favorite would be the baseball booth. You get the opportunity to win a sports plaque by throwing wiffle balls, or
I'm trying to think of the most
nowadays
popular
pickleballs.
Dunkin' booth's usually popular too, because it's usually one of the teachers or the priest will do.
Dunkin' booth's got to be up there. It's not a game per se,
right.
But it's in that style.
Oh yeah, all the kids love those when it's one of their teachers. They love to go dunk there. Same with the silly string.
All the game booths at our school is ran by the fair company, and all of them are shady as fuck. You can't win that kind of thing.
Yeah, the rides are neither here nor there.
The dudes are guys and girls are missing teeth.
Carny trash.
Yeah.
Trash.
I think my favorite is probably Plinko, life-size Plinko.
They do their best to make it like the child casino, like in the arcades.
Jamie volunteers at the Cherry Bell.
There you go. Yeah.
And
Holly worked that one last year.
That is pretty cool.
What the hell is that?
It's gambling, basically. It's like little. It's not scratch off, but if you peel off those things.
Did inflation hit that one too? Is it still $1 per card, or is it like $5
So
a card?
years ago they had 50-cent dollars. Now I think they go up to $5.
Mm-hmm.
Figures.
Yeah.
And then one of the slots where you throw the coin across, well, those used to be nickel slots, right?
That was yeah.
Because now they're quarters. They call them quarter slots.
I don't know if we even have those.
Because I know a couple of the moms.
But I know what you're talking about. Because
Yeah.
I think St. Armand had those.
There's a couple of moms that we're friends with. Actually hung out with them last night. They love that. They'll work the quarter slots all weekend because they love,
Slots.
with the thing, it has to land perfectly in the square, and then you get 5 quarters, and then, it's like crazy.
So many slots in Las
Do they
Vegas.
still have mopping for apples at fairs?
No.
Yeah.
No.
I think it's like a
Probably
like
do
a
like
place called-
Mono or
yeah.
whatnot.
The last fair I think I went to was probably the St. Edward's Fair back in 2018, 2017, something like that. So that's probably the last fair I went to.
And it's, if anything, that one with all the pork stuff, with all the, they cook some ahead of time, they string up the meat. Last year they couldn't even do that. All you could do was light the fire, do like the burn man or whatever the hell. We could do that week to just light under the pig rack. But then the Cajun microwave thing, that's insane. The Cajun microwave, the big box where they put the hot coals on top and it's like a Dutch oven.
Yeah.
These dudes stick thermometers in the butts and actually monitor temperature and stuff. Oh yeah, Wednesday night's butt-stuffin night. By the way, you want to go stuff some butts.
I like butt stuff.
Go on.
Well, I've stuck some butts before.
You know what?
Hey, that's a
now.
fun thing. Hey, yo.
Do tell, Mike. Tell us about the last bunch of stuff.
Yeah. It was a big couchon.
Cool.
They do a pig race too. They brought that back where it's like a mile run through the neighborhood for like the adults and the kids. And yeah, last year I definitely didn't participate. 2 years ago I was like, this sucks. It's like running a mile through the neighborhood.
You just run through the neighborhood for like a mile and that's it?
Well, it's a race. I mean,
Gotcha.
as you come in, they hand you a number, and then it's like it tells you what place. And talk about for little egos. Have the kid come in number 52nd, you feel like a piece of shit. It's like I felt that way as an adult, but then again, I walked the whole thing. So it's like I thought more were going to do that. And I'm like, I came in like 52nd or something. I'm like, okay, why did I even do this? But yeah, if anything, the food is definitely something. The bands are okay.
And my favorite game, I never got to say my two piece. My favorite game was at Mary Magdalene. It was the football throw. They would set up 9 tires. You threw it through the football through the tires.
That was cool.
That was always my favorite.
I know she's going to hear this too, but Amanda Shaw fucking sucks. She opened up our fair last year on Friday and was like on the Friday night spot. And I even wanted to work the beer booth next to the stage so I could see Amanda Shaw while I'm working. And yeah, she took like a 45-minute break. You couldn't hear her very well. Apparently she was like a total diva and kept going back to her little trailer and shit she brought. And nobody liked her. It was
Who was playing it?
I don't even know. I mean, the whole theme was back to the 90s, so I'm sure it was a 90s cover band, but I didn't recognize them.
Donuts.
No, it wasn't one of the bigger ones. I don't know who it was.
We had the Top Cats.
there you go. Top Cats were playing at St. Angela's on Friday night. Y'all had them too this weekend?
Yeah.
Like on what, Saturday?
Well, funny thing, so we had them today at St. Elizabeth, and then yesterday we had them at the other event that I worked at. I've been listening to a bunch of Top Cats lately.
I know.
And they sing the same, it's the same song,
Yeah.
You hear them once, you hear them, millions of
And these always have this band Sugar Shaker close out the fair. Nick's nuts maybe one time, but there's people that actually show up with Sugar Shaker t-shirts and they're like groupies that you didn't see out there again, and they come just for this band, and it's like, really? That goes. Teach his own,
Staying on the topics of festivals, getting away from grammar school fall festivals.
Gretna Fest.
Yeah, we have Gretna Fest just passed, and I heard Fried Chicken Festival is next weekend, I believe.
That's this weekend.
This weekend.
K-Pasta Festival?
We're
Okay.
better than Ezra's playing at the speed.
Oh, wow.
That's
Nice.
the Fried Chicken Fest.
I saw Blue Oyster Cult was playing today at Gretna Fest.
Yeah, it's
It's pretty solid. We have K-Pasta Fest out at Lafreniere, but let's not forget, I think
they're going in 2 minutes, 8 o'clock.
I think if we all voted on what is our favorite festival in New Orleans, we'd probably all kind of hit the same one. And that would be Oktoberfest, which actually starts next weekend and follows for the next 2 after that as well. Ends out the next week.
Oh yeah, next weekend. That's right.
Yeah. So it's the last three weekends in October.
Friday, Saturday night, or Friday night.
We are going to have to coordinate our calendars here.
18, 19, one of those.
Synchronize our calendars.
That'd probably work.
Probably that Friday night would work really well for me.
The 18th.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's try to talk about making it happen.
Yeah.
Only next weekend for me. But.
Does anybody have a favorite Oktoberfest beer that they serve there, or just kind of a favorite Oktoberfest beer in general?
Oktoberfest.
Because Mike and I, which we can get to in a second, are both drinking some Oktoberfest beers right now. But who is there, what would you say is your favorite Oktoberfest beer? Mainly the ones that they serve at the festival.
I either do Spaten or Kohlschweitzer.
Those are my two. Spaten Lager, or it's just like really crisp and refreshing on a most of the time in October it's still fucking hot. So on a hot night, Spaten Lager is nice, crisp and refreshing. But if you want like a darker, kind of like porter-esque beer, the Kohlschweitzer.
Yeah. Some of the other Dunkels are really good too. Like I have not had a bad beer at Oktoberfest. I just am partial to those two. So that's normally what I get. But I'll try any beer that they have, and usually I have not been disappointed by it.
So the Kohlschweitzer is a black lager, so it's kind of similar to the Shiner Black.
How do you say it?
So
okay.
What about you, Travis?
I'm with you. I really don't think I've had a bad beer at Oktoberfest. If I had to say my top two, I think Sean would probably agree with me on one of them here. But my favorite, if we've never done a top 5 all-around favorite beers, this would probably be in my top 3 somewhere, is the Polaner Oktoberfest.
Oh yeah.
That's one I like. When that's one, like when you said with Sean when you called him up about the beer and was like, "Hey, I'm willing to get you as many as you want."
Yeah.
When Polaner is on the shelves, I'll probably buy like 3 or 4 of them at a time, just knowing that they're going to be there very temporarily. So that would be my favorite. But then this one right here, when I asked people to stand in my wedding, I got them each a glass engraved with beers I knew they liked, and I put their name engraved on it. And I actually got Sean the Franziskaner Hefeweizen, which they also serve out there, and that's one of my favorite ones as well.
I was about to say, you probably know mine, because that would count. It's like, yeah, they do serve it at Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
It's not called, it's just Franziskaner Hefeweizen.
It's not an Oktoberfest beer per se, but they serve it out there, so it's definitely
not the Dunkel either. It's the Hefe.
So it definitely counts in my book. But I agree with you, Pat. I don't think I've had a bad one when I've been out there.
Franziskaner.
I can kind of lead into like what's everybody drinking tonight.
Go ahead.
No, look, I'll start because I'm drinking water tonight. I'm drinking Lager tonight, but I drank pretty heavily on Friday night, a little bit yesterday as well. But what I did have on Friday night, since we're on the topic of Oktoberfest and Oktoberfest beers more specifically, I got a 6-pack of the Urban Sour Oktoberfest, and I feel like that has been one of my favorite beers, like with like the Oktoberfest names attached to it. I feel like Urban South, most notably known for like their IPAs and their sours, really hit the nail on the head with this Oktoberfest beer. I think it's probably my favorite one.
I didn't even realize until after it passed. It was last weekend. It was like September 28th was last Saturday. They had an Oktoberfest at Urban South when they like all 5 beers on tap, and they looked like they were debuting something. I checked my email on Monday and I'm like, oh, I didn't know this was going on. Saturday it just passed. I went and saw ducks get poured into the pond at City Park. Saw that on the news, the rubber duck thing. And you can sponsor a duck.
Oh yeah,
swims across. That's what we went to, a little duck fest. That and did things around City Park. Went to the Noma food trucks and all that. Pretty nice little Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Rode some bikes, with the fam.
Mike, what's your favorite Oktoberfest beer?
It's got to be Spaten, the Oktoberfest Spaten.
And well, Mike, when you exited the room for a second, we finished up talking about your favorite Oktoberfest beers, and then we jumped right into what's everybody drinking. So, do you want to say what you're drinking?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm drinking some Shiner Oktoberfest. Picked it up at Ricky's Discount Liquor. They got
Ricky's malt liquor.
a decent selection over there for cheap.
Where's that at?
It's in Kenner.
Kenner Brown?
Yep,
Right by his mom's.
my hacienda.
Mm-hmm.
It's good beer. I actually got confused because when I went and put my 6-pack in Travis's little kegerator cooler, I saw a pack of Oktoberfest beer, which I thought was Shiner Oktoberfest, but it was actually Sam Adams.
Sam Adams Oktoberfest. So, and that is what I'm drinking tonight, Sam Adams Oktoberfest. And again, I think this kind of goes with this trend. We talked about Oktoberfest out in New Orleans not really serving any bad beers, but I don't know if any of us have had a bad Oktoberfest beer that we've bought at a store either. I mean, if you have, you can definitely speak up on it. But
I wasn't too crazy about the St. Arnold's one.
okay.
I liked it. I mean, it wasn't
It
best,
horrible, but it wasn't.
yeah.
It's nothing compared to the Urban South.
No.
St. Arnold, like that makes Lombard and all those.
Yeah.
Okay.
They
I don't know if
had,
they
actually
had
had those at Ricky's.
Now, one I have not tried that I just saw when I went to the grocery yesterday and bought the Sam Adams was Yingling actually put out an Oktoberfest.
Mm.
I'm curious to see if that one's any good because I know that's kind of more along the lines of the domestic beers than anything else, So, Sean, what you drinking?
I was going to say, it's just a good segue. I don't know if y'all want to. I'm already close to the end of this one. I can crack a new one and can try it if you want. But it's the Rally Cat Pitchin' Pumpkins. I guess they're seasonal pumpkin spice. It says ale brewed with pumpkin and spices.
We can head that in when we do a top 5 when we take a break.
6.1. Yeah, last year I had asked Patrick, I got like an email from Total and it said, seasonal stuff. And I was like, ooh, and I picked it up. It was already sold out everywhere and he wasn't able to get it for me. So made me ask this time. I probably saw it again in an email or something. And then he was able to get some 4-packs for me. They come in pint size like most Rally Caps. And so far, it's not the coldest it could be. I've got some in the fridge right now, but I'm down in it pretty easily.
Yeah, you said this is the first time you've had it, though.
Yeah,
right?
I've never tried it.
How is it?
Pretty good. I mean, I don't know if I drink it year round or, going along our pumpkin spice, samplings and what have you. Definitely is true to the name, definitely has a pumpkin flavor.
I'm going to pour out a sample for everybody right here since Sean brought it up.
There you go.
While you're pouring,
I was going to say, I'll take the rest of the can when you're done.
I'm drinking Old Forester 1920.
Is it cold?
Bourbon.
Yeah, I was going to say.
We had an Old Forester tasting class that I co-hosted with my boss last week, and I took home half a bottle of that, so I'm kind of trying to polish that off right now. But the old trusty Old Forester.
This tastes. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
This tastes just like a Jacko's.
Jacko's. I know what that is, but I don't at the
Did you
same
say
time.
Jack Offaloos?
Jack Offaloos? No. The Jacko's beer. What is it? I don't remember. Jacko's beer.
I've heard that name. I thought we
Yeah.
hadn't talked about that on here, but maybe I'm thinking of something.
Is that a Sam Adams beer? Jacko's?
I don't know.
No, this is better than the last pumpkin beer I tried. I got some kind of holiday pack, and I think it might have been the same pack that I had the Shiner Black in. But there was a pumpkin beer in there, and I fucking took one sip of it and almost threw up. So this one's significantly better than that one.
So it was like Chantilly Gin.
No, it was bad.
So
I don't know
this
if it was
is
quite that bad though.
it's not bad. The pumpkin flavor isn't heavy, but it's definitely there on the front end.
You definitely taste it, yeah.
I get some cinnamon kind of at the end, which is
Is that pumpkin?
preference for me. Not great,
Okay.
but because I don't like cinnamon. But it's not bad. I could see if it were colder, maybe it'd be a lot better. But yeah, it's not bad.
Oh, same Adam.
By the way, it is Sam Adams Jack O beer, and I think this tastes just like it.
Would you say there's an interplay of pumpkin and spice?
Yeah.
So look, I
By the
know
way,
yes.
pumpkin eggnog coming soon.
Who makes that shit?
It's we all
Made it
It's
the other day,
God.
asshole.
It's so God.
Now, look, I'm gonna say, we've had this talk multiple times on the pod about pumpkin spice or chips and salsa, and we know most of us are pumpkin spice fans. But one place that
Most of us. Wait, most of us. I think it's a minority on the pumpkin spice.
4 out of 5 of us. What? Oh well, you're the minority today, Pat.
Oh, whoa.
That did,
Sean,
The irony of that joke.
that did not come out right.
Sean was a pumpkin spice guy.
Over chips and salsa, yeah.
But
I'm a chip in like.
Am I the only one?
What are you
Patrick,
smoking? I
Patrick,
thought you knew that.
Patrick,
Don't talk. You got fucking drool. You got spittle on your fucking mouth.
Patrick recruited Biff and Russell are now
Yeah.
team chips and salsa, as well as probably most,
I didn't
as well as your wife, my wife, and probably
I
Tom's as
didn't
well.
have to.
This is you drinking this.
Yeah, I didn't have to recruit them. They just have better taste than y'all.
Now listen, if you give me the option pico de gallo and salsa, or pico de gallo and pumpkin spice, I might go pico de gallo.
I had some pico de gallo on my Chipotle burrito today, Mike.
How good was it?
It was God.
It was
I did
God.
have some.
Have you tried the brisket yet?
Speaking of God, let's take a moment of silence to.
Do you have any cream of some young guy?
Oh, it's so fucked up.
I don't know where we're going with this right now.
We're going to hell.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we're definitely on the highway to hell.
This reminds me of that priest episode that we didn't even air.
Yeah, that was a thing. What the? I don't know where you go.
Speaking of waterfall,
So I never got to finish my sentiment here. Like, we know that we're fans of pumpkin spice here, most of us, but I've never, the one area that I leave pumpkin spice out of is usually my beer. Like, I like it in smoothies, I like it in cookies, I like it in coffee, but then when I bring it to my beer, I think the flavors clash a little too much. Now, this one is not that bad. The cinnamon doesn't hit as hard as a general pumpkin ale or some of the other pumpkin ales that I've had. I still probably wouldn't buy a pack of it at the store, but it's still not bad by any stretch.
Yeah, it's good seasonal.
And our friends
For a
at
reason.
Rally Cap are great people. So
Rally Cap, we love you if you're listening.
They're probably not after the last things we just said.
we still gotta take a road trip out there. But
Rally Cap, if you want to become our sponsor, we would love that.
Bart, did those pump pass expire after a year, or do you have
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh, wow.
I did use it on Spoken Barrel yesterday, which was a little disappointing in the sense that Spoken Barrel was not an actual brewery. They didn't produce their own stuff. It used to be Old Rail Brewing, which had they did brew their own beer, but they did have the lemon buffer from Agile Brewing, which is a mouth orgasm. It's gone.
It's good. Did you hear about the Gretna brewery that's supposedly going to open up?
I heard there's one in St. Charles Parish.
Yeah, I did hear that too.
Gretna, I think, was going to be like still Port Orleans, right? I think Port Orleans is opening a second location in Gretna.
Okay.
Yes, that's what I mean. Yeah.
They had a little bit of backlash from the locals, I think. I'm not sure. There was a hold up with it. There was a pause. But hopefully that comes to fruition because that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I guess it would do well. I mean,
I wonder if it's like an extension of Port.
I want to say so. Like, I think they're going to do some brewing out there, or maybe just distribution.
Well, yeah.
I don't know if it's certain,
About
but
Port Orleans on the West Bank.
Yeah.
They've been saying that when everybody's thinking they were closing. They're like, no, actually, we're opening one somewhere on the West Bank.
You know, there was rumors about Port Orleans opening up in Kent, where Porch and Patio was.
oh, okay. I do remember hearing about that.
But
I did hear something about, you said St. Charles, but I heard Jefferson Parish even, like, would a brewery be able to open? I don't know what all the red tape is or something to open a brewery in Jefferson Parish, but I don't know why you can't. I don't know what the big deal is.
kind of reminds me of the time that we were trying to create our own brewery.
That's another episode. That's another topic for another episode. We could spend the whole episode talking about that.
We could.
That botched attempt. Anyway,
There was a lot of naysayers at the time.
You gotta let it nix it.
Well, not us.
so let's try to coordinate dates for Oktoberfest. I think we talked about October 18th and 19th possibly work.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have we have this podcast planner that we try to go by, and every time that we try to do this, I side derail this conversation into something else, totally off topic, and I apologize.
Mike,
Mike, who, just out of curiosity, who is an naysayer? Do you want to give any names, or is that like confidential?
It was this guy named Ryan. And this guy, Ryan, really put his 2 cents into everything. And he dropped your phone. He's laughing so hard he dropped his phone. Yeah, this guy, Ryan, man, really fucked us. But
go on.
Hopefully, no. So.
All right. So really quick, just for those of y'all that don't know,
I don't know. So
it still might be a thing one day.
I feel like should I do this? I feel like I don't know either.
It still might be a thing one day. We were trying to come up with our own brewery in Jefferson Parish, and I'm not even going to name the name because that's potentially a trademark.
Copyright infringement.
We should get on that.
I don't want anybody to steal our good name.
But yeah, we thought about this before Port Orleans.
You should just file that trademark now and just
You
have
it's
it.
going to be called Port Orleans.
No, it means brewery in Jefferson Parish.
Zach Street took it from us.
So anyway, we're moving on because it's really off topic.
We'll spend another episode talking about that. Our aspirations are still there.
Yeah.
But let's see if finances fall into place. All right. Mike, you mentioned earlier while we were discussing fall festivals that you got out of 2 out of 3 days of the fall festival because you were working. What were you doing as far as working?
So,
Or at least one day.
yes. So one day, I was working the Brother Martin Rummel football Friday night game at Yenny Stadium. That was interesting. I haven't gone to a Rummel game since the championship game that we all went to.
Yeah.
It was really fun.
About like 3 years ago or so.
So,
You talking about the one at Gilman? It was like longer than that. Even.
Oh, really?
5 or 6.
my kids are going to be legacies one day over there. So I'm trying to get them to go and get involved and things like that. Well, unfortunately, our school fair was that same weekend, so they didn't go because of that. But I had to work it for work purposes, and it was interesting. It was fun. I've worked public school football games where it's really. It's really a drag. And then this Catholic league is, it's like so many people involved. You can tell rich kids versus poor kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can tell, man. It's crazy. I'm not looking at you. I'm just saying in general. It was fun. Unfortunately, the wrong team won. And it had me mad all game. I even wore my high school ring to this game. Like I was so excited wearing this game. Yeah. Look, it can be classified.
You think the opposing schools fans, the kids that go there, saw your ring and were poking fun at
I'm
it?
sure. But look, like everything was bigger, better. The bands on both sides were just amazing compared to the ones that I worked, on the other side. It's not just percussion. Like, they had a tremendous horn section. And then they had some people, though, that went to extremes, specifically on the Brother Martin side.
If you had to stretcher out a kid from the opposing team and they saw your ring, would the kid be like, "Oh shit, I'm dead"?
I mean, I really did want to turn it around and clock somebody on the head with it, but I did. But no, it was a fun game. Like I said, the wrong team won.
I don't think Patrick has any allegiance to either.
I mean, I would say both teams are the wrong teams.
I was about to say Patrick's like fuck both of them.
Yeah, whatever.
But it was fun. Coach Roth was there.
Really? Shit.
Yeah, I shook hands with him.
I'd love to see him.
He even looked at my ring, and he comes right up to me, and he looks me in the eye, he shakes my hand, he's like, "Raider pride."
Did he bow down and kiss the ring?
No, he did not. No, he
I
did
thought
not.
you were gonna say
He
no.
bent the knee.
you were gonna say he came up to you and say, "Hey, Michael, how you doing?"
Yeah, how you doing, Michael? No, he did not.
Oh, man.
But there was some other fellas there. I'm not gonna name names, and they, normal days I would talk to these people, but that day in specifically,
Like they were there to support the Rummel side.
no, the other side.
But you knew them, even though they were there
Yeah.
for the Brother Martin side. Okay.
Nah, it's all in good fun. I'm just kind of joking. It's all in good fun. They're supporting their team. That's cool. But no, it was a good game. The end score was 17-13. So
I understand though where you're coming from as far as saying like the difference between a Catholic League football game and a public school football game.
Night and day.
Take it from somebody that has worked in the public school system for 13 years now. The previous school I worked at, which I think I can probably also name because it doesn't exist anymore, but I went to about 3 or 4 of those football games, and man, there was like probably like I'm gonna say a handful of students. I'd say 20 max scattered throughout the stadium. No student section, just randomly sitting in different parts of the stadium, and it was empty.
Right.
And one time, me and Travis went. And it was my school I was working at versus his school, and of course his school was a relatively good football team. Beat the crap out of them. I think it was like 42-0.
I'm not gonna say the stands were like full because they weren't, but it was at least double or triple the amount that other schools get.
Is it not like it was when we were there?
And
Is it not? It wasn't as packed as it was when we were there.
it was packed. It was
Yeah,
packed, but it wasn't all. It wasn't full.
I mean, we'd all go together to the games when Sean was
Yeah.
playing, and
I mean, Yenny is a big
In the
stadium.
student section.
I give it that. It wasn't completely full, but it was the energy. The energy you would think it would be full. Just the energy, the cheering on both sides. I do gotta say. So it was a fun game. Good time. There was nobody hurt, so that's at least hurt on my side.
you didn't have to load anybody in the meat wagon.
No, nobody had to be
All right,
loaded.
so no poor injured brother Martin kid had to see your own running.
Fucking pores.
That's a good thing.
Back when I had
That is a very good thing.
back in junior year when I was about to have my ACL surgery, I'm on the table, all on anesthesia, and the doctor doing my surgery, he's like, "Did I ever tell you I went to Jesuit?" And that was the last thing I remember. And I woke up and the surgery was already done.
How'd your ass hurt? I was gonna say, how'd your ass feel afterwards?
I
woke up.
didn't feel like I was flipped out.
From the
So
same
be it broke.
Sean woke up and he had prosthetic testicles.
Yeah, he went, "Oops, wrong knee," and then they knocked me out again. No, I'm kidding.
What's wrong hole?
Oops, wrong hole, yeah.
Sean, we know there's an issue with your penis. We took an extra inch or two off. Go Jays.
So wait, now he has no penis?
And what's interesting? Speaking of that, I just registered my child for all 3. Well, I say the big 3 of the girls' schools for open houses, and then they have a cheerleading thing where they can go to a clinic Friday and then they can cheer at the Jesuit game on Saturday. And I'm asked of like, "Oh, you want to sign her up for that?" And I'm like, "Not the Blue Jays." But then I'm thinking like, what if she decides to go to? Don't look at me like that.
I am looking at you like that. I don't want to have you slander my school for nothing.
So
I'm going to be catching strays for nothing.
for those of you that are listening to this podcast that are not local, maybe those of y'all that are listening internationally.
Yeah, maybe our Canadian friends. Maybe our Canadian
Or our
friends.
West
All of
Coast
our
friends.
friends and all of our listeners in Singapore and Taiwan.
Down here in the South, we take our, especially here in Louisiana, we take our high school footballs very seriously. Or our high schools very seriously, I should say.
Yeah.
Big rivalries.
But the end of what I was saying, though, is that I was thinking if my child, she more than likely will choose Chappelle. And she stays in band or cheerleading, I'll be going to Rummel games. But like, what if she does choose Mount Carmel or Dominican? It's like I'll be going to, Jesuit or Brother Martin, or which sister schools they are. It's like I feel like I'd feel weird walking in there and a whole bunch of Brother Martin fans. I'm like, I didn't go to this school. I don't know.
I just have to say, nobody in this room, nobody that's part of this podcast, glad that at least it wasn't De La Salle.
Or Shaw.
For sure.
My wife should De La Salle let me interrupt.
So done. More.
Yeah.
I said part of this podcast or
Family Matters.
okay, I'm sorry.
Good show.
So, Mike, has Alex gone to any of the open houses yet?
Yeah, we went to a couple different spend the nights and all kinds of
Spend the night, spend the days.
Spend the days, whatever.
Spend the nights.
Whoa! It was at night. I
I
misspoke.
went to the priest's rectory.
It was at night, but it was spend the days. Yes.
No, absolutely not.
So that was cool. I mean,
He's in 7th
he's in 6.
or in 6th. Okay.
I will say that Carson did the Rummel Jesuit and Holy Cross open houses, and we pretty much ruled Holy Cross out right from the get-go because they pretty much made you stand around for like an hour and a half before they actually start the tour, and it's all simply to me because they want you to show off their state-of-the-art campus, but in actuality, really just annoyed a bunch of people. But so they got ruled out pretty quickly, and it just became between Rummel and Jesuit. He actually really liked Jesuit and really considered it neck and neck for a while.
Yeah.
Until Rummel eventually kind of took the lead, and that's where he's going to probably end up applying. Next month, I believe. So.
Well, I gave my kids a choice.
He's in 7th. Carson.
Yeah.
Carson 7th, yeah.
The choice was you stay in Jefferson Parish, or you stay in Jefferson Parish. so going to Orleans is not an option.
I mean, the West Bank and Jefferson Parish. I'm just saying.
Hey, yeah, it's fun.
You go to South Lafourche.
Day and age, like pretty much all the Catholic schools, education-wise, are going to give you a good education, kind of set your child up for being a productive, successful young man or young woman or like that. So it's really just a matter of sometimes it comes down to just finances, maybe sometimes legacy of like your grandparents went to the school and that's kind of your influence.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know the scholarships, but maybe like your kid excels at soccer and wants to go to more of a soccer or a football school. So you kind of make your preference off of that. I remember when I was in 6th, 7th grade and trying to decide where I wanted to go for high school. I did all the Catholic school tours. I did Rummel. I did Brother Martin. I did Jesuit. I did St. Aug. I think I didn't do De La Salle and I didn't do Shaw just because location-wise they were not the closest and what the most feasible. But I think it came down to I did 6th and 7th grade like summer camps for engineering and math at Jesuit, and by the end I knew the layout of the school. I'd met a lot of the teachers, and it felt more comfortable for me. And my mom wanted me to go to Brother Martin because it was closer to our house. So I mean, Brother Martin from my mom's house is probably a 5-minute drive, 10 minutes by like public transportation or whatever. So it made more sense. But I chose Jesuit just more because of familiarity with the school, the layout. I kind of knew what they expected of me. All the open houses were about the same. They kind of are. You go to the school, meet the teacher, you talk about the curriculum, you talk about the history of the school, and whatnot like that. And it comes down to the kid. When you get the choice, it's really just maybe your friends influence you. Like, hey, my friends are going here and this and that.
See that at our grammar school, grade school, whatever you want to call it. Most of the kids are Jesuit. Maybe they're going to go to Jesuit. So this kind of falls against his friends and where my son. But still, like I said, I'm happy that he's choosing Rummel just because I went there. It's familiarity to me, you know what I mean? And
to say that I remember the choices were just the big three: Brother Martin, Rummel, Jesuit. But Holy Cross wasn't even on the map because, of course, Holy Cross when we were going was in my parents were like, hell no, we're not driving you there every day.
Yeah.
But like nowadays, if I had a son, I probably would consider Holy Cross.
What Patrick said is absolutely correct. No matter which one, every single one of them, you're going to get good education. You're going to get those values that really matter and the reason that you're sending them there.
Yeah, but also it's I mean, you could even, you know, always said like even if our public schools get looked down on, but every one of the schools has a valedictorian, and if the parents give a shit, you can get out of the school what you put into it.
And at the end of the day, that's ultimately what it is. If your kid tries and excels like that, you're going to get a good education. Because if your kid is smart, they're going to be learning the sort of some of the same things. Maybe not to the deepest of the level, or maybe not have some of the more advanced level of like certain classes.
Yeah.
But you're going to learn, and it's going to be on your kid to want to learn more and take a step forward and be more engaged and to do whatever they want to do with their life post high school like that.
I mean,
Same thing with colleges. You can go to Delgado and then transfer to like a smaller college. You don't have to go to LSU to get a good education. You go to UNO. We all turned out for the most part decent human beings. All UNO grads.
For the most part.
We have our demon side, but
relatively speaking.
But from an academics and learning standpoint, I think we all did well in our life and careers so far.
I think UNO's freshman enrollment went up 20% from last year, though. So they're on a positive trend.
It's interesting of like all the parents that I know at the school. Like, a couple of them that went to like EJ or Grace King, they joke, "Oh, public school trash," and they love to joke. Like they self-deprecating in themselves, but it's like they're turned out just as fine as everyone else, and not like, oh, they're here with us. It's not like their kids didn't go to St. Edward like mine did just because they went to public school.
I mean, there's some pretty rich high school dropouts in our world, not just the city, the state, but the world.
Well, my ex would always say she went to EJ and said her valedictorian of her class is a friggin' doctor and like probably worth millions or something.
Well, I will say I work at the school that Todd's kids are going to go to, and the average ACT score at this school is a 30, which, if you know anything about the ACT, the highest you can get is a 36. So
that's good.
That's pretty damn impressive, and that they definitely produce results at this school.
So which one?
At where I work.
Yeah.
So and that's I got my carpool buddy with me in the morning, Grayson, and Camden will be there with us next year too. So. But
the school that we all wish our kids could get into, but there's only so many freaking spots. And
Yep.
I would love to save $13,000 a year. It'd be awesome. There was some girl at the last 7th grader from St. Edward that got a full scholarship to the Chappelle, like literally all 5 years paid. But of course, she was a freaking brainiac. Got like straight A's her entire grammar school career.
That's Collinsworth's son.
It's Jack Collins.
Jack Collins. You can't see the nose resemblance?
Well, does he say Mike Year's a guy? So he's weed.
Here's a guy that looks like Chris Collins.
Well, putting our local high school talk aside, let's shift it, but still staying on the topic of sports. We're talking about Mike attending this Brother Martin football game. I'm going to keep this one brief. I'll take it, as bragging rights here. As far as, has anybody watched any of the MLB playoffs?
I've been watching what teams are doing, but not really watching games. Obviously, the Cardinals did not make it, so my playoff baseball interest is tamped down a little bit just because I don't have a team that I'm rooting for other than my friends' teams that are in it. So, unfortunately, and I don't want to. Sorry to bring it up, Todd. You guys are no longer in the playoffs. Travis, you guys are still in it, along with what? The Tigers, the Yankees, Royals. So I think for the rest of the playoffs, if I'm going to pull for the Guardians in the AL, I'll probably go with maybe the Padres.
I'd say Padres.
Yeah?
I think we're probably all on the same page with that. I'm Guardians, Padres myself. It's a new blood in there. Nobody wants to see the Yankees go again. Royals have sucked for a little while, but went to the World Series not that long ago. Nobody wants to see the Dodgers. Nobody wants to see the Yankees, unless you're hardcore fans of those teams. But yeah, I do get a little bit of bragging rights. I know the Guardians. I actually was a little nervous going into yesterday because I thought the Tigers are the hottest team in baseball right now. But the Guardians ended up beating them 7-0 and have a 1-game lead in that series. Game 2 is tomorrow, and it's actually at like 3 o'clock, which they're putting these games like in the middle of the workday, which is ridiculous. But I don't want to spend too long on this. I know, we may not have people that watch baseball religiously, and I'm the only one that still has a team in the ranks right now. But I'll just leave it at this.
What about the Phillies or the amazing Mets?
Fuck the Mets.
Yeah.
They ain't fucking Phillies to go with it.
Yeah, I was gonna say y'all would actually be surprised.
Fuck Grimace. Fuck
I'm
the
not
Mets.
shocked.
There's a pretty badass.
But the Grimace jersey,
Mets
though, is pretty
Grimace
slick.
Grimace jersey.
Yesterday I had Fox on pretty much all day long. I did see, who was it? It was UCLA lose to Penn State. And then after that, Phillies and Mets came on, and I saw Schwarber hit the home run first fucking at bat.
Yeah.
And it was 1-0 for like so long. And then I had to go get ready to go hit magazine last night. And then I see the Mets ended up winning like 6-4. What the fuck happened? It was like 1-0 for like 7 innings.
What you do on magazine last night?
Stroll.
Yeah, nobody cares for the Phillies either.
I actually had on magazine, I had some bamboo, and I had some Gentilly Gin last night.
There you go. You said you went to like some kind of art festival thing? Yeah.
It's basically the same as the champagne stroll, as they call it in May, but it was called Art for Art's Sake.
Mhm.
And same thing, where you just, the businesses give you free booze to go in and look at stuff and hopefully buy shit from them. Anything from Flirty Girl to Lucy Rose. I actually bought my girlfriend a candle from there, and of course it was like, 20% off, but it was still like $50 fucking, but, you know, things you do for your ladies, you know. But, yeah, we ended up eating that dog. Got a Chicago dog from that dog. I was very impressed with that. But just like I remember it, with the pickles and the onions and the like little peppers on it and stuff, I was like, wow, this is like, you know, bringing back memories.
I haven't had that dog in a while, and it's always good. It's just, one, you got to go down to magazine. I forget where the other location is, but you got to go all the way out there. And I'm not going to say it's expensive, because it's a really good quality dog, and it got a lot of stuff on it, a lot of options for different dog toppings and variety. But
yeah, 2 hot dogs plus some like cheese fries was probably like $25.
yeah, it's always just, I got a plan to go down, to be down on magazine. If I'm down there, then okay, I'll go there. But
I do like Rum House on magazine.
Yeah,
that's good.
That's where we met around.
House is gone.
That's good.
House tacos.
Right. Well, staying on the topic of sports, we'll get off of baseball, but following up with baseball season, we actually have Tuesday coming up is the first day of the NHL regular season. I guess technically no, because they had the series out in Czech Republic or whatnot. But for the rest of the NHL, the regular season starts on Tuesday. We got at least 3 residential, maybe 4 residential hockey fans here on the pod. Does anybody want to talk about what they're excited most about their respective teams this season?
I mean, obviously, I'm not expecting a whole lot from the San Jose Sharks, but
You're just hoping for some improvement. You're not going to be.
I think you're going to see some improvement. They're not going to be as bad as they were last year. But I am excited to see the young up-and-comers they have. Of course, Macklin Celebrini, Will Smith, and Quentin Musty, who I found out was demoted back to OHL, but hoping at some point he gets a call up. They got to get a lot of young talent coming up, kind of like the Orioles did last year when Rutschman and Henderson and all these other young guys started to get called up.
I mean, the only way they can go is up, right? I guess it's a good thing.
Pretty much. You know, I looked at an article the other day, and it said that the rookie goalie that they're seeing this year, that he's like a big sleeper as far as like a big sleeper fantasy pick, thinking that he's going to overtake Mackenzie Blackwood as the main guy. And
Blackwood's too inconsistent, so it makes sense.
I don't have anything specific to my team that I'm looking forward to. I just want to see us have more consistency in the net, and that was a big thing all season. The defense was good, the offense was top of the league. Just our goaltending was very inconsistent. They had good patches, like 10, 12 games, and they would lose 2-3 games in a row from bad goaltending. So I just want a more consistent team from start to finish of the season, and then hopefully get into the playoffs and go maybe a little bit further. I'm not going to say I think we're Stanley Cup winning capable, but I don't think we're far off. I think we're right there. It's going to come down to the goaltending again. So I'm excited. I'm excited for just hockey season to start in general. Watching, aside from the teams that I really don't like, I'm just intrigued to see every team play and just to watch games again and have that atmosphere going again. So, I hope the Avalanche do well. I expect them to do well. It'll come down to, again, kind of just goaltending, but I'm just excited for the season to get started.
Yeah, well, I don't see any reason why you don't think the Avalanche could be a good long-term playoff contender, possibly Stanley Cup contender.
Well, like they say,
offensively, they're pretty built.
Yeah. I can tell you with anything, it's the hope that kills you, right? So I don't want to get the expectations and hope too high, and then we run into a hot goalie and team come the end of the season. But that's so far away. Just enjoy the regular season and the games and beating some of my hated teams and going from there and just that. So, but I'm gonna try to tamp some of the expectations and hope and just watch the games.
I know the once baseball season ends, like for you two, like the Todd will probably jump right into Shark season and until the Sharks get really bad and put themselves out of a playoff spot again.
It may not be that bad. Who knows?
But I think the Kings have kind of beat expectations over the past couple of years, and I hope they continue to do that. I'm looking at their projected line combinations to start the year, and I see they have the guy named Alex Laferriere on line 1 this year, which he was a line 3 guy last year, so that to me is kind of a big question mark because he didn't really do that much. One thing I do like is they've called up Akil Thomas. He looks like he's going to start the year on the 4th line, though. I'm hoping he can work his way higher than that. Offensively, I know Drew Doughty has got to have surgery, so I don't know how long he's going to be out. So that's a big big blow to our team because he's one of the leaders on the team, best defenseman we have. So we'll see. I hope they just continue to beat expectations. Mike, do you have anything you want to add on the Golden Knights?
The Golden Knights are phenomenal. I absolutely love them.
Did you get that William Karlsson pin yet?
No, I did not.
That was a badass pin.
Did you get anything hockey or Golden Knights related?
Other than the shirt,
every jersey in his closet.
No, I did not.
Other than
Mike's, look, it's
not even the Crocs.
Look, guys, I tried. I really did, and it just, I really don't have the time to watch.
Can you make look?
And look, so okay. I picked a team that most of their games is like really outside of my time.
Yeah, Todd and I are relating.
Like they play at 9 something. It's like at that time I'm like ready to go to sleep.
I hear you.
So I wish I would have picked a team that played earlier games maybe.
Well, we all thought you would pick in the Predators. So
But that is probably the biggest reason why I really didn't get into it as much as I hoped to. And it's
cool
really
logo, cool color scheme. Nashville, Mike likes country music. I mean, it made sense.
So, but
close to proximity.
Yeah,
One of the closest teams.
Yeah, but that was really the major reason why I didn't get into the Golden Knights.
So how's that Eichel jersey coming along?
It's not. It's not. Hey, look, I might next season get start looking again and picking some team that might be a little closer.
No.
Maybe
you have to wait to look at the standings from the previous season to pick a team for next year. Wait, this team won 59 games. They look good.
Wait a second,
may or may not say I'm a bandwagoner. I don't know.
We devoted a whole special episode to this. So
we did.
It was still good though.
It was. It's probably still my favorite episode. So, Mike, we usually every year go to a Mississippi Seawolves game. We take the hour and 15 minutes or whatever it is.
That was very fun last time we went.
I would like to see you to get a jersey for the next time we go. So, if we go sometime this season, you got to put your DHgate order in. Get yourself what is it called? A steel gray?
Steel gray.
Before he orders off the DHgate, though, I'm going to say the last hockey jersey I ordered off of DHgate was a Wisconsin Badgers hockey jersey, the way you could customize it, right? So I customized it with a guy I liked that came from Wisconsin, not Joe Pavelski. And it came in fucking screen printed. It wasn't even stitched. It looks like total shit.
Is DHgate going,
Subliminated.
Going shit? Is that what you're saying?
I think so. I think they're starting to get really cheap on us now.
Even the Chinese can't afford to make cheap shit, huh?
Well, I don't think you're going to run into that issue with the Golden Knights jersey. I think it's just getting that college jersey. Because Todd and I actually ran into the same experience ordering a New Orleans brass jersey from Vintage Hockey, where they stitched the front part of the brass logo was stitched on, but the name and number on the back was sublimated. So I actually emailed him and I flat out told the guy, I was like, look, this looks like shit. I was like, you have the front embroidered on, and then you have the back, which I called screen printed, but he's like, oh, it's sublimated. I was like, I don't care what it's called. You have the front embroidered and the back sublimated. And I was just like, sublimated, is that what it's called?
I don't know why it's called that, but yeah.
Sublimated. But so then he's like, well, if you mail them back, I'll give you a refund. And I'm just like, I'm not mailing them back. Like, I'm just telling you, like, you misled us to believe that this was fully embroidered. So look, and I've got no issues with Vintage Hockey. Vintage Hockey puts out, like, Todd and I have a brass sweatshirt from Vintage Hockey. They have some really cool stuff on the site. But if you're going to order a New Orleans brass customized jersey, just expect to be a little disappointed because, like I said, the front comes in embroidered, the back comes in sublimated.
Sublimated.
So sorry for the misuse of words there, but yeah, Vintage Hockey, not that.
I was saying that it's like that sounds right. I don't know what that means.
I'm not an expert, but I think sublimated is less quality than silk screen.
Well, it's like screen print, right?
Probably. Well, screen print is kind of like when you have like almost like iron-on stuff. The sublimated is basically like the number is like on the shirt, like built into the shirt.
Oh, okay.
It's like you rub your hand down and it just feels like one thing.
Like it wasn't even added. It was like
no, it was just sewn into the shirt or whatever.
Printed, yeah. Like tie-dyed into the shirt. Speaking of the NHL stuff, I don't forget if I told y'all that I looked into remember I was looking at the St. Louis Blues, like the Mardi Gras looking logo and all that, and found out that they did have like a Mardi Gras line, the St. Louis Blues. And that sweatshirt, it sucks that it was like, I really liked that. It was that bright yellow sweatshirt. And of course they didn't come in a purple version. It was like the only version that exists. It's like purple with the same logo, I totally would have bought it. But, did finally, go forward, and it's not really a surprise. I haven't bought it yet, but if trying to look for a Blues jersey for like Pronger and stuff like that, I might pull the trigger on it at some point. I might be able to get a Pronger Whalers jersey.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, that's just because it's the Whalers and it's just kind of out there, and I like the colors. I might do that one day.
Yeah,
pull the trigger on it.
Wear it to a Mississippi Seawolves shirt. Seawolves game.
And of course, it wouldn't have a C or anything like that because it was like his first 2 years in the league when he was with the Whalers before he went to the Blues. Anyway.
Well, moving on from hockey, does anybody have anything they want to add on the upstart of the Saints season? We were pretty high on the first 2 weeks. Last 2 weeks, not as much. Does anybody want to add, really focusing on these last 2 weeks, does anybody want to talk about the previous 2 Saints losses? Does anybody want to add on that?
To me, it's complete disappointment.
Fuck the fuck. All right.
It was disappointing because I think the games could have went a different way if the coaching was there. I think it's to me, we should have went for those 3 points instead of going for it on fourth.
Absolutely.
Down. Like, we could have gotten the points and won the game. Now, I'm Monday morning quarterbacking it, but looking back at it, I think on those last 2 games, it was poor decisions from the head coach to not get the points and go for it on fourth down. Just because the other team did it, and it was unsuccessful. I feel like Dennis Allen said, "Oh, well, we can do it, and we're going to be successful." No, when you're running close games like that, 3 points is a big. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's really a big deal.
Take the frazzling points.
I think when you have
Take the frazzling points, correct.
when you have four minutes frazzling points. When you have 4 minutes left in the game and you have all your timeouts, or maybe at least 2 out of 3 of your timeouts. I think that was a big head scratcher to not kick the field goal there and just try to get rely on your defense who's done a good job all year.
That's what we
make
have.
that
We
stop.
have defense. That's what we have.
My take on these last 2 games is I really feel like we should be 4-0. Like, you sit back and you look at the let's go back to the Eagles game. You know, we take the lead with a minute left in the game, minute and a half left in the game, something along those lines. There is probably no other team in the NFL that would give up a 60-yard pass to a tight end when the game was on the line. I mean, that's just typical Saints. And then, like, if you go back to last week against Atlanta, we held Atlanta to not score an offensive touchdown, yet we still found a way to lose the game because we allowed a pick six, which wasn't Derek Carr's fault. That was got tipped in bad circumstance. But then you have Rashid Shaheed, miss a punt and a punt into the end zone, and it gets recovered for a touchdown.
Why was he fielding that?
Yeah, and that's what
a 2-yard.
That was had he let that go, had he let that punt go into the end zone, we win the game. Had two of our defenders not run into each other on that Goddard pass, we win the game. So I mean, it's two just plays of extreme bad luck for the Saints that are keeping us from being 4-0.
Well, you remember when we started the episode when we were talking about preseason, about what our expectations, and we said is if they don't make some of these really bonehead mistakes, at least after the first game, we're like, they can, like for some of the games, like against like Kansas City or for Dallas, if we play a fairly clean game and don't have anything super bonehead or something just bad luck fluky happen, we should be in a good spot. And we're kind of there already. It's like the first two games, everything looked great. Now, granted, games 3 and 4, injuries start to kind of creep into the fold.
That was a huge thing with injuries.
Yeah, so that absolutely plays a part in some of our lack of success. But we also have seen some of the big mistakes start to creep in and cost us drives, points, and now games. So hopefully with an improving injury situation, I don't know if Taysom's going to be back tomorrow.
He's not. He's
still out. Okay.
He has a broken ribs, huh?
Yeah, broken ribs.
Yeah. Okay. So I know they were something that was the injury, but yeah, it's going to be on Kubiak to continually find a way to scheme to keep the offense moving. Because against Atlanta, we were doing well moving the ball. It's not, granted, the Philly game, we ran up against a pretty good defense, although we still should have won the game, but we were not running the ball nearly as well as prior. We also, I think, was it the Atlanta game where we kept trying to run up the right side and getting shut down, and the commentators even said, oh man, the running up the left side has been so successful, why are they getting away from that? And they could continually ran down the right side and got shut down. So this is going to be a game where like Kubiak needs to scheme a little bit better, and everyone needs to also play better to mitigate some of these.
For the record, the right side is behind Penning.
Yeah.
The left side is behind Fuaga and Patrick.
Yeah.
Who, the first 2 games of the season, Patrick, I heard, was the top-rated lineman in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Like, based on, I guess, his, how well he did.
Right.
It's insane.
And
yeah, I mean, it's stupid mistakes, and it's very disappointing because I just like Travis said, I really do believe we should be 4-0, but
yeah, we absolutely could be.
Between those mistakes that you pointed out, plus the coaching mistakes of those calls that he made of going forward.
And I have no idea how this game plays out against Kansas City with their injury situation on offense and our O-line injuries, and obviously also missing Taysom, to see what we're going to do and how we're going to scheme on both sides. Because is Demario Davis back?
I don't know.
I don't think he was listed on the injury report.
Okay.
We just picked up a center.
Gay is out too.
Gay is out.
Oh shit.
Ruiz is out. Of course, McCoy is out.
I like our secondary and their chances of not stopping Mahomes but slowing that offense down, especially with their injuries. I'm a little worried about what Kansas City might be able to do against us on defense. That can be a big concern. Like, how are we going to handle the pressure that Steve Spagnuolo brings with Chris Jones and that secondary? And then, do we have enough to
Big Dome Jones?
Yeah, to control whatever they try to do bring out offensively.
I think we need to look at Penning again and cut that motherfucker. Because probably somebody in second or third string is probably better than that.
I mean, we already have the offensive line's already like pretty depleted. I mean, to lose him.
I know.
But the problem is, you would think that the second and third stringer would have already beaten him out in preseason
You're
in the first couple of weeks. So maybe we don't
just
have
a sad bench.
Yeah, and I mean, how many teams in the league can say that, hey, our second or third string can come in and do as well, if not maybe better than the starter? So that'd be asking a lot of the rest of the team. I think we need to scheme a little bit better protection to help, and that means leaving Foster Moreau or another tight end in to help with some pass blocking to offset what the Chiefs try to do defensively. We're going to have to do some of that to keep Carr with a cleaner pocket, because Derek Carr, for all the ups and downs, and any quarterback is affected by pressure. But if we look at Carr's numbers against pressure, he is one of the worst quarterbacks in the league versus pressure. So they know that, and they're going to bring it, and it's going to be a matter of how we schematically handle that, and then do we have like enough hot routes or checkdowns that we can make to offset that? Can we run the ball to help prevent them from just sending blitzes time after time or in key situations?
Where the hell has Juwan Johnson been?
He's on a milk carton.
I think we've been asking that since the season started.
He's on the opposite side of the milk carton from Foster Moreau.
I mean, he's not hurt though, right? I mean, hey, look, Moreau actually had a couple good plays the first two games.
I will say for what they're getting paid, Moreau did have two decent games compared to Juwan Johnson, where you can barely see him doing anything. And he's got paid a couple years ago.
They cut A.T. Perry, which like I was following.
Which I'm secretly hoping that is making room for Devontae Adams and giving Devontae Adams his number.
17.
Yeah.
But I was I'm not gonna say disappointed. I'm happy that they fucking cut his ass because he hasn't produced. But I was following him during preseason and everything. Perry.
I think Perry would have instantly stepped in and been at number 3 for us. There was something.
Clears waivers. He's probably getting put on practice squad anyway, right?
I don't know, because I'm thinking, like you pointed out in text, I'm thinking there's something going on there between him and Allen.
Like locker room.
Because he's a talented guy. He plays good in the preseason. He's played well at the end of last season when they dressed him. I think there's something going on between him and Dennis Allen, or him in the locker room, that maybe wasn't meshing well with the team. But he was too talented, especially given the lack of production from Tipton and Wilson and Bub Means, and the list goes on. I think he could have stepped in there and been just fine.
So let me ask you this: if we don't pick up Devontae Adams, letting go of A.T. Perry is like
I think it's dumb.
Idea.
But I would like to see Equanimous St. Brown get called up and see what he can do, because the other 3 guys that we have dressed at wide receiver, we pointed them out, Tipton, Means, and Cedric Wilson. I mean, his name's so forgettable because has he caught a fucking ball all year? I mean, like, these guys are not producing. You need somebody to step into that 3 role. I'm not dissing Shaheed. I think Shaheed has had some decent games, but I still think he fits more of that wide receiver 3, every now and again deep threat. I would much like to see Devontae Adams come in.
Shaheed is the new Devery Henderson.
He is, simply is.
That's all he is.
Let's talk about Devontae Adams for a second. Like, if the Saints were to trade him,
Let Devontae Adams away though.
if that's true, according to Patrick. But if they made it clear they want a 2nd round pick, but they want something else as well. But what would y'all be okay with trading to get Devontae Adams? 2nd round pick in what?
Peyton Turner, Trevor Benning,
All the good players we had.
Okay, all right. So let's see. I don't think the Raiders are going to bite for
Juwan
either one. Your all name players are not going to bite on. I'm thinking
The Raiders obviously don't need a tight end today.
My thinking is they're probably looking at how deep we are at corner and probably saying, we want one of your cornerbacks with a 2nd round pick.
Throw in Lattimore.
Yep, Lattimore. That's what I said.
All Lattimore's done is run into
But do you
another
think-
one of our own players.
But my question is that do you think they even want Lattimore because of his age? So I'm thinking that probably would be looking at either Debo, Taylor, or McKinstry.
But Debo's kind of
Would you guys be okay with a second round pick and one of those guys for Devontae
not
Adams?
trade-worthy.
Debo, not Kool-Aid, but who else?
A Debo, Taylor, or Kool-Aid.
Oh, I'd say a Debo.
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't
to
know.
think about that, you have Lattimore.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
he's getting old, proven corner. Then you have one of either Alontae Taylor or Debo on the other side,
Taylor.
and then you have McKinstry playing nickel. I mean, I would take that trade all day. I'm just saying, I don't care which one it is. At this point, I would take I'd even throw Lattimore in for this trade because
McKinstry's too early. You don't know how good he's going to be.
they might want that because of the idea of saying he's
Well, same idea, yeah.
Moldable or
they say he's a
No,
young
no,
guy.
no,
We want a
young.
young good corner. So I mean, I'm all in on it because I feel like we're deep at corner right now, and we could use that extra help at receiver. But we'll see. I think ultimately this is all hot air because I think he's going to probably end up on the Jets. But they got more cap room, probably more stuff that'd be interested to the Raiders. But I'd be all on board with that.
Yeah, I mean, when I made that statement about we're not a Devontae Adams away, that was obviously more targeted towards we have other holes that we need to address or to shore up before we add another weapon. We need to use the weapons we have.
Yeah.
But yes, he would instantly help us in a lot of ways because right now we're relying on Kamara, Olave, a deep ball from Shaheed, the one or two Foster Moreau plays you get a game,
Yep.
and Taysom obviously has been hurt. Who wouldn't take Devontae Adams right now? Correct. Everybody would, right? The problem is, what is he going to take to sign him for like beyond this season?
Yeah.
And what's that going to cost? The cap situation is the big problem with Adams. I would love to have him.
Because I mean, if you're looking at just taking him as a loan, then you're basically at Super Bowl or bust. Because if
Right.
you lose him at the end of the year, it's all kind of for nothing.
Right.
You know.
Now, so let's say they trade for him. Do you think let's say we get healthy. Are we a Devontae Adams away from being
Look,
Super Bowl contenders
I think-
at least in our conference?
if you would ask me the first two games, I'd say yeah.
but I would
Yeah, I would
I would
first two
still
games.
say we have the defense.
Mhm.
If you count that we really should have won those last two games based upon all the things we pointed out,
I do.
I would say and there's not that many teams. We saw the Vikings almost lose to the Jets today. Really probably should have.
San Francisco lost.
San Francisco just doesn't look that great.
Yeah.
Kansas City doesn't look that great. They're not blowing teams out like they used to.
The Rams don't have any offensive players right now. They're all hurt.
I really do feel like this league is kind of up for grabs right now. So I would say yes, I would go all in and do it. But I don't know.
Yeah.
They don't pay me that kind of money to do to make those decisions.
Yeah, I'm gonna just throw this out there. Boy, were we fucking wrong with our division. Yeah.
In terms of what?
Look at Tampa Bay. Look at the Falcons. You know, like
I think Tampa Bay is as we predicted. They're a solid team offensive. They play pretty good defense, but their offense is kind of moving along.
they're way better than we had thought. That they
Okay, I'll agree with that. Yes,
I had us losing them both times.
Right. I think they are better than maybe we thought too. Atlanta, I'm not going to shit on them because they found a way to win those games. I don't think Atlanta is
as big of a threat.
will be consistently that big of a threat.
Let me call Atlanta. I'm going to call them scrappy. Like
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
they did not go away. But again, the Bucks D really let that game slip away at the end.
Mm-hmm.
We should have beat Atlanta. Like there's no reason for them to beat us not scoring an offensive touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
So really, we could be 4-0 and they could be 1-3. You know,
But to be fair, they should have beat the Chiefs too. That no call in the end zone
Yeah.
was just part of a deciding factor of that game. I mean, they are Atlanta is better than I think we thought, just like Tampa Bay is, but it's more of a surprise being Atlanta because the first week they were not doing anything with Kirk Cousins. But granted, it was the first game after his Achilles injury, so I expected them to not be out the gate clicking well.
Right.
They still haven't really found the running game with Bijan to be good enough yet, but I think they're punching above their weight, which is good for them. But they like Travis said, they could easily be 0-4. They could probably be 2-2 or 3-1, maybe. Just a couple things go the way. Their offense seems to be okay enough to keep them around, and Kirk Cousins is playing well enough.
You're listening.
I'm still with their defense. Their defense does not look really impressive, so I think there's opportunity to get on top of them. But yeah, like I said, they're scrappy on offense. They have firepower. If they can run the ball, they've got two really good receivers. Kyle Pitts, for all his potential talk, he can still make plays. So they've got two good wide receivers, a good tight end, technically two good backs that can, if they manage it well, can do well. It'll be, can Kirk Cousins not turn the ball over, and can their defense kind of, I guess, play better and not give up so much?
I'm going to ask this question. This was actually, I'm going to shout out one of my coworkers, Jeremy Lampo. He actually listened to our podcast on our Saints season predictions. I actually got to give him a stick. I'll probably bring it to him tomorrow. He's a coworker of mine at the school I work for.
Mm-hmm.
He brought up this question. He's like, I'd like to hear y'all bring this up on a podcast. And it's similar to where we went with a top 5 when we talked about vacation destinations, our top 5 vacation destinations in the United States. He said, if you could pick one NFL stadium to take a road trip to, what would be your pick? So I know a lot of Todd and I's vacation destinations consisted of baseball stadiums, but I'm going to throw that question out. If you could pick one NFL stadium that you want to take a road trip to for the Saints, where would you want to go?
There's two that I really wanted to see.
Like this season, or just
I think in general.
Okay.
Because, if you go back to the cities that we picked, Seattle was in was number 2, I think, on my list, or maybe number 3. And when me and Travis gave up our Saints season tickets, we'd said we want to see an away Saints game every year, and the first one we were trying to plan was Seattle. So Seattle is definitely on my list, and I think when we did the cities we wanted to see, I think mostly everybody said Seattle. So that's obviously probably the number 1 choice. Plus, it's they got the crowd really gets into it. The whole 12-man thing going. The stadium itself looks really cool. So that's definitely one. But another one I've always really wanted to see was Tampa and with Raymond James Stadium, because they got the damn pirate ship built into it. And I always thought that looked really fucking cool.
Well, today my choice would be SoFi.
Okay. Why?
Because it looks like a freaking amusement park. It looks like fucking Disney World.
I would say SoFi too, as my top.
Looking at it today, I was watching the Packers-Rams game.
I would love
the stadium is ridiculous.
I would love to go to Philly and do as much trash talk.
Yeah.
Philly would be my last choice. I wouldn't want to get pegged with a full beer can.
I would be front and center, fucking talking shit.
Bring your fighting gloves just in case, though. We know how they are.
Well, I did pass on an opportunity to go to MetLife, but that was to see a rainy-ass Patriots-Jets game last season, and I didn't go.
Fights are commonplace at NFL games every weeknight, no matter where you are.
So far we have SoFi, we have Tampa, we have Seattle, and I would agree with Todd, but I'm going to throw out a third option. But the ones Todd mentioned are my top 2 as well. I think the thing that stands out about baseball stadiums, why certain baseball stadiums get to the top of my list, is I want to see the cool things that the stadium has to offer. Tampa is probably my number 1 for that reason, because Tampa has the big pirate ship at the stadium, just be something cool to take a picture by or whatnot. And of course, one road trip we already have looked into is going to Seattle and being part of the 12th man, or rooting against the 12th man, to say. But I'm going to go ahead and throw another one out there. There's nothing really that sexy about this one, but just the idea of the fact that the Saints play Carolina twice a year. I think, and this may sound corny or whatnot, but another reason why I really want to go watch a Saints road game at the Panther Stadium is they have a monument built to Sam Mills. which is kind of a slap in the face because they're claiming Sam as their own when Sam is definitely a Saint. Definitely a Saint first. I don't think he went over.
He's been like a finalist or semi or something for Hall of Fame. And
He's in it.
Oh, you got inducted.
As a Saint.
As
Yep.
a Saint, yeah.
So that would be another
No
choice.
statue in front of the Superdome.
And I'll hold off on another one. I want to hear. I want to hear Patrick's answer here, and then I might throw another one out if his is different.
I do have another one, but let's see what
My pick
Let's see what
is a legacy stadium from one of the OG original teams.
Tulane?
Yeah.
Tulane Stadium?
Yeah, I want to go to the Yule. It would be Lambeau.
That was going to be the one I was going to mention.
Now, and I remember
I did mention that one, yeah.
I told you I've been to Lambeau, but not for a game. I had a wedding, and the reception was at Lambeau at the stadium, so we got to kind of walk through the stadium, go on into the bleachers and whatnot. So there's nothing in or around Lambeau other than Lambeau itself.
Yeah,
so it's for things to do, low on the list, but to see a early winter game in Lambeau, maybe not when it's like negative or like single digit temperatures. I wouldn't be opposed to it.
For the snow.
Wouldn't be my first choice, but like give me like a 30s, 40s, or 50-degree Lambeau game. I would love to go to Lambeau because seeing what I saw just walking around with nothing else around. It's a really, really cool stadium, like, and they do their history very, very well. Like they're very, as they should be. They're very proud of their teams that they had over the years and the players and all the history, and they showcase it very well. It's a very good experience. It's like to be a tourist
It's a
in.
community.
Do they still have the freaking bleacher seats like an old school, high school stadium?
Oh yeah, there's some of that. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
They never replaced all that. Yeah.
Now there's some newer seating sections, but yeah, they still have some bleacher type seats. At least they did when I went there almost a decade ago or something like that or whatever. But yeah, Lambeau would be one. I wouldn't mind going to see this Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
There's stuff to do around there more so than Lambeau, but another legacy team from back in the day. Arrowhead. My buddy's been to Arrowhead. I have a friend who lives in Arrowhead, and that looks like an amazing atmosphere. So I'd put that on my list. Because yeah, it's not sexy like SoFi. SoFi would be up on the list because it look like Sean said, it looks amazing. It's all super techy and modern, and it looks really, really good. The Chargers, when they open their stadium, is going to be kind of like the same thing. But yeah, seeing some of those old school stadiums and teams, and then they're in their building, I probably would do on some of those.
Sean, did you have one more to mention?
I was going to say Arrowhead, then I was thinking of I would say Buffalo.
Okay.
Just to see the crazy ass tailgating.
Yeah, you'd have to do a tailgate with that one.
I would probably only want to do the tailgate. Just that there's nothing that I can think of that I saw about the stadium that would really intrigue me. But yeah, the tailgate and watching the fans just do their rowdiness or whatever would be fun.
Be pretty cool. Buffalo.
Look, we talk about the wagons taking road trips, and I thought it was awesome that most of us went to St. Louis together. But we need to do a football, so maybe a Saints road game together. We
can go to Carolina. Tickets are cheap. You know they're going to be cheap tickets.
My coworker that passed away, my buddy, Saints bandwagon group, where he would go year to year to different games, and it was like a big old thing that he did, and seems like something fun.
Look, to be honest with you, that was Todd and I's plan when we got rid of our Saints season tickets to do one road trip per year, and then when we looked at NFL prices compared to MLB prices, it kind of really kick-started the let's hit all those MLB stadiums. But I still would like to take a Saints road trip every few years.
That's what turned me off on the MetLife thing. It was I get to go see the Jets and Patriots in the rain, and the tickets were $200. Nah, I'm cool. I'll watch it from the hotel.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The Seahawks tickets were $200 to sit in the upper decks. Whereas we paid a year prior. I went to LA to watch a hockey game and paid $100 to sit row 13 off the glass. So it's definitely a change of pace when the NFL tickets are significantly more expensive than other sports. All right, so we're going to venture off from sports here, and Mike threw this topic out that he wanted to talk about today. Way off topic from sports or really anything else we discussed today.
Uh-oh.
but he had the question of, do you prefer blondes or brunettes? But I think you also got to throw in redheads too.
We don't discriminate on this podcast.
Blondes, brunettes, redheads.
Blondes, brunettes, redheads.
I'm going to let you start, Mike, since,
So,
it's your idea.
when I
What
was
about no hair at all?
younger, wee lad, I had this thing for blondes.
Okay.
And my young adult life, blondes was it. And then the older I get, it's more of the specifically black or very dark colored
Hair.
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 That, that is very attractive to me.
He's kind of tall.
You mean like
hair.
the mafia wives with the jet black hair?
T-shirts.
Jet
sometimes.
black hair, sure.
Or like Cuban women.
And I don't know why we had a conversation earlier that kind of this was about, but no, I mean,
Who's we?
as in the group, but no, brunettes in general, just I think they're funner.
That's at Rummel Education.
They're funner.
I'll talk about my favorite movie. So
So, what do y'all think?
it's gooder than.
I'll looking back at my history, it's probably been brunettes. I've dated I think all but redhead before, but I guess I have a brunette lean. Maybe.
Sean, you're not married.
They're two wives.
But he's taken
They
though.
have their ears pressed against the door right now and listening to everything I'm saying.
What is your what is your dream girl?
I mean, what, like features and everything? I thought it was just brunettes. Well, just hair color. Always been drawn to brunettes before blondes, but I appreciate a good blonde. Like it's not like hair color determines everything.
Well, that's very nice.
Well, Mike, what about you?
I already said.
Okay.
So I'll just say I've always been interested in brunettes. I think most of my dating history dictates that. And I'm not saying this to because my wife's in the next room, but I do feel like hit the jackpot as far as finding somebody that has the right features and right body type that I'm interested in.
And she hit the jackpot with you too.
I'd like to think so, but I've definitely always been a brunette guy.
Anyone else want to tie a noose around her neck?
I don't have a whole lot of to say on this. I mean, I used to be more into blondes, but I feel like my preference has changed over time, and I think I'm more interested in brunettes now.
What I can say, I am not into like the strawberry blonde dyed hair. That's usually not a thing I go with. Mostly because those are a little bit older.
So
West
pretty
Bank.
much everybody in the room are excluding redheads.
I wouldn't say
I mean,
exclude. I've not had that opportunity. Nothing against Morona. I just have never really run. They're far less common in the in the world in the day to day.
It all depends. It's a case by case thing.
Because I could just say like jet black hair might be my favorite of all, and go from and just that be it. Dark hair would be my go-to. And then from there the rest is whatever.
Okay.
I mean, I could say I had a thing for Bryce Dallas Howard. That's a redhead right there. If she was like a chick in my real world circle, I'd be like, yeah, she's pretty hot. But I don't really have a lot of redheads that I know of. Around.
You could probably go back and listen to our celebrity crushes and kind of piece together a type that we all
That is
like,
true.
whatever big popular
What
that.
episode was that?
Probably 2 or 3 episodes ago.
2 or 3 episodes?
Actually, probably 4 or 5 now. Yeah.
4 or 5?
You were part of that one.
Yes, I was. Yes, I was.
Just make sure you didn't forget.
Anyway,
Because their
I
example.
know it made a lot of people uncomfortable. In
What?
this uncomfortable conversation.
5 minutes later.
Well, we'll move on from that topic. It seems like we all generally have a slight preference towards brunettes here, but we don't really discriminate on specific types of hair color. But this is what we'll kind of close out with in this episode is since our last episode, we actually had quite a few celebrity deaths in the last few weeks. We had James Earl Jones, some of the other ones.
Pete Rose.
Dikembe Mutombo.
John Amos.
John Amos.
So there's been a lot. We always like to pay respects to people who passed away in our lives, and I think the biggest one that stands out for me there would be Pete Rose because of the fact that I really thought at some point in his life he was going to get his Hall of Fame ban lifted, right. And the fact that now he's no longer alive to be inducted while he's alive, I really, for some reason, that just doesn't sit well with me. Like I feel like at a certain point they should have let that go and let him in. His career batting average was over 300. He was one of the hits leaders in the MLB all-time.
Well, the biggest thing is that sports betting is friggin' legal now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's like let the man in now. That's like saying being arrested for weed and then now
sports betting is legal, but you can't bet on yourself.
Players can't.
True. I mean,
players
it's not that he doesn't get the recognition that he deserves for the way he played the game and how good he was at it. Because again, we've all established he's one of the best baseball players to ever play. It's gonna feel a little shitty. Hopefully, if and when he does get his ban lifted and they maybe induct him posthumously, that's gonna feel like you should have done that 10, 15 years before. His passing should not be the reason that this tension dissipates and you now let him in. That part will suck.
He did the betting after he was a player, right? It was when he was a manager.
Yes.
And it's really? It's like a coach can't do it?
I think it's maybe worse as a coach because you can do so much more influencing on the game than just say maybe you're at bat.
Uh-huh.
But then to also be betting on your team probably is what really, really brought it home. If you were betting on, let's say, a team in a different division, they might look at it a little less harshly.
Yeah.
But the fact that his team was part of the betting that he did, there's so much, because you can go back and maybe look at lineups, he fielded the worst lineup possible this day or didn't pitch a certain pitcher on a day for a game they would have won. He pitched some call-up from the minors, and they got rocked and lost. Oh, well, people was bet on that game. Well, there's all of that kind of, I think this was the real big play into it. If he was just a player, I think it'd be a little bit less of an offense. But as betting on you as a manager and on your own team as a manager was probably worse. That's got to be holding. But yeah, it sucks that he did not get a chance to get in. Talk about second chances, and that's a whole slippery slope of just life in general.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, he should have at least, like I said, been inducted. And if you want to put an asterisk or put him in a different part of the Hall of Fame where they just they fully mention and talk about the things that he did that were wrong, that's fine. But his play deserves to have him in the Hall of Fame. He is as much as part of the history of the game as, say, Babe Ruth or Willie Mays or Jackie Robinson in some ways. So for me, he absolutely belongs in. I'm okay with if they're hey, we're gonna there's a bit of a black eye around his plaque or whatever for him to in, but he deserves to be
Who's
in.
comparable in football? Carol Owens got in finally. Antonio Brown's going to have some issues, but they're going to put him in the Hall at some point. Who else NFL-wise is kind of tainted a little bit?
I can't think of any. My memory's probably bad on this, so I think I really have
I guess if you can relate it to that steroid era, and whether or not those guys are going to get in, Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire,
right. I can't think of a player from a different sport that is also non-baseball that has got a cloud around their head that's holding them out. It's going to be a debate for the end of time of whether he should have gotten in before he passed. Does he get in now? And what they do as far as remembering him in the Hall if he does get in. I think he should. I think he should get in. He should have gotten in. Enough time has passed that hey, we can't forget what he did, but to not recognize in the correct way what he did for the game and how he played, it would be kind of a little bit criminal, I feel.
Anybody else have anything else they want to add on any other recent passings?
John Amos. That was. I think Mutombo probably hit more because I grew up not in the era when Good Times was on, but I know I've watched a bunch of it. But I was into sports at an age to know enough about the game and know players and remember players, and watching Mutombo play. Super likable. I don't think anyone had a really bad thing to say about him. He was super charitable. He's had all kind of foundations. One of his foundations, I think, is named after his mom. So he gave a lot of his time and money to help poor people or impoverished countries and where he was from and things like that. So that one kind of definitely gave me a lot of pause when it happened. It was like, man, and to only be 50, to die so young at 58 of brain cancer, that really is sad.
I didn't even know he had brain cancer.
Yeah.
And that was one of Camden's favorite players, some throwback players. He has a Mutombo jersey. I think that Travis got him.
Mm-hmm.
Other guys who we had mentioned was Chris Christopherson and was the guy from Beverly Hills Cop, Ashton. John Ashton. His name?
John Ashton, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about them. That's sad. We should because they were prominent people in our like I said, Mutombo. Like a lot of younger kids probably don't know him as a basketball player, but they remember him from the commercial slapping the ball and doing his famous finger right. No. So I think his reach kind of extended into a couple of generations, even though his basketball playing days were long gone.
Well, my vote is that Pete Rose gets in the Hall of Fame. But Todd's a big Star Wars guy, probably a little bit bigger than me. And, rest in peace, James Earl Jones. Darth Vader.
That was the one that
Oh yeah, that
James Earl Jones.
Sandlot, yeah.
Disney years ago. Was James Earl Jones. So I'm sure you still hear him as Vader.
Totes my goats. Remember that commercial?
Oh yeah.
From Lion King.
Yeah. Yeah, so we had a lot of passings, select celebrity passes in the last couple of months. Yeah, gotta protect these people at all costs, unless they don't deserve it. Then
Mel Brooks is still alive. He's like 9 fucking.
Yeah, assholes like him and fucking Diddy are still around.
Hey.
But Diddy may have been a phenomenal.
How's Mel Brooks an asshole?
Reasons.
Still
Hush now. What?
still
I have a feeling I know where he's going with this. I'm about to episode over.
Tupac and Epstein.
Joe Biden.
And on that note, before Mike gets us completely
By
canceled,
definition, his heart is still pumping. Yeah.
Wagons out.
If he doesn't know where he is, we get the shit right.